We're in North Minneapolis. Chief, the Minneapolis Police Department's new bloodhound is in this truck. I'm gonna take off into this park somewhere. He's got my scent, and he's gonna find me.
Do you wanna go find that bad guy? Huh? You wanna go find her?
Officer Bonnie Edwards grabs Chief. I take off into the park, and she's about to use what's called a scent machine.
It's just a vacuum that sucks the scent up onto this pad.
Edwards gets my scent off the car seat.
You ready?
Chief smells the pad.
All right, buddy. We see a track.
He's off in my direction. Edwards watches her dog and the wind. It can blow the scent off target. No one knows where I've hidden.
Now he lost her right here, so.
A hesitation, and then he's got me again. Up the hill and around the trees. Did you get me?
Attaboy! Good job, Chief. Good boy.
Oh, yes,
Good job.
You found me. Bloodhounds are made for this job. Their ears, longer than their nose, help scoop up the scent from the ground.
The loose skin around his mouth and his jowls will also help him trap the scent so he can taste it as well as smell it.
Edwards says Chief could do this same track 5 days from now.
Yeah, I know, Chief. You could. I know you can.
This is the real thing. Officer Edwards just got called to a scene where a man has a gun. Out of the car, gun drawn, Edwards surveys the situation.
This guy's got a gun. We need you inside just in case something bad happens, okay?
The man's subdued. Chief isn't needed this time, but it's nice to know he's here when we do.
It's absolutely doing something for our department and for the citizens, and this is for them.
Minneapolis is one of only 2 departments in the entire state with bloodhounds like Chief. It's hoped that this dog will make the difference in finding everything from that kidnapped child to the missing Alzheimer's patient. In Minneapolis, Allison Triarce, 5 Eyewitness News.
Dear Carol. Dear Sally. Dear Barbara.
The Marines.
The Marine Corps sent letters to people they hope to turn into America's elite warriors. People like Carol Osmond.
Okay, I'm ready. Come sign me up.
Osmond is 60 years old. She says she was a little baffled that the Marines said they wanted her because of her great command of the Arabic language. She knows a couple of strong Finnish words, but no Arabic. Osmond says she's patriotic and would love to help, but figured they wouldn't really want her due to the age thing and, well, the Arabic thing. She wrote them back pointing that out, only to get another recruiting letter with materials about the Marines, a number to call, and a secret code.
It said call the number and use the code word voice.
These 2 women are even less likely to join up. 82-year-old Sally Alice Thompson of Albuquerque and 85-year-old Barbara Mercer of Seattle. They're not only up there in their years, they're both anti-war activists. Mercer has peace signs outside her home.
Well, I just thought they were pretty desperate.
While Thompson is a member of the Raging Grannies. The anti-war group protested at a Marine recruiting station.
Glory, glory, hallelujah.
The Marines responded to the protesters.
It was a terrible mistake. We have policies and programs in place that are trying to prevent people who don't want the information from getting the information.
But when we pushed for more answers, the Marines wouldn't answer them on camera. They instead answered only some questions in a letter.
You will find your destiny among the world's greatest warriors.
The Marine Corps says it hires a company called J. Walter Thompson to do marketing and advertising. It will pay the company about $59 million of this year's overall recruiting budget of $143 million. Corps officials say more than 100,000 people received letters who shouldn't have due to a database processing error on the part of a J. Walter Thompson subcontractor. The Marines go on to say a direct mail piece to Arabic-speaking Americans was sent to thousands of Americans outside of our market range of 17 to 29-year-olds. So the Marines recognized the age error, but failed to acknowledge the fact the letters also went out to people who don't speak Arabic. People like Carol Osmond, who say at first the whole thing was just comical, now it's quite concerning.
Who are they actually getting? Do they even check backgrounds? They're sending out letters haphazardly? I don't know. It's kind of scary.
And Joe Top Bobby is always ready. You want to tear that lettuce up down there? Wash your hands.
They say they are one big, happy family, but it would be hard to find a more diverse group of youngsters than this. 13 kids, aged between 2 and 16.
Lord, we thank you for this food.
Brothers and sisters, all adopted and all in need of a great deal of help.
We were in need of families, so God called them to bring us here and adopt us.
Them is 55-year-old John Hayes and his 47-year-old wife, Holiday. Here is a very remote 40 acres of land in northern Minnesota where this huge family live in an ever-expanding log home. They call themselves Hayes Kids, and they are all part of a unique experiment. John and Holiday Hayes hope to help most of these youngsters deal with a congenital problem called fetal alcohol spectrum disorders, a condition they were born with that makes it difficult for them to ever live independently.
They have organic brain damage, and this is not damage that goes away.
10 of these kids were born to mothers who abused alcohol during their pregnancy. Holiday Hayes says the majority of them would completely fail in life before they reach 30.
6 of ours would be dead or in prison. So we've created Hayes Kids as our attempt to try to do something about those staggering odds.
It's hard to see it in these happy, friendly faces, but there are deep underlying problems here.
Are you serious?
15-year-old Tiffany has not been diagnosed with fetal alcohol, but she told us she and her 2 younger siblings were so neglected as infants that she had to shoplift so they could eat.
In order to feed the family, I went across the street and took food from the grocery store.
John Hayes says Tiffany was less than 4 years old when she was caught stealing. The authorities placed the 3 tiny children in a foster home, which the kids told us only made matters worse.
I got beat with a belt, and we were molested by our older brothers.
Tiffany, Brittany, and Joseph were adopted by John and Holiday Hayes about 11 years ago. When they found him in 2000, 10-year-old Ricky was suffering from severe symptoms of fetal alcohol. He was impulsive and suffered from confusion. He admits he was out of control.
If they haven't adopted us, then we would be getting into a lot of trouble, and eventually we might end up in jail.
How do you know that?
Because I was a bad boy.
Very bad. John Hayes says Ricky was a foul-mouthed, belligerent, uncontrollable child who hijacked a school bus when he was only 8. Before they were adopted by John and Holiday Hayes, most of these kids had very troubled lives. Their stories are heartbreaking.
Our parents couldn't take care of us, and they're having trouble.
My mother wasn't exactly a mother. When I was born, she was a mother to me for 2 weeks.
We've gotten beaten, and our houses weren't all that great, and we lived in a bad community.
Now these kids have a new mom and dad, 2 people who are not only dedicated to taking care of their own, but hope to develop a nationwide program to help parents deal with similarly affected kids.
There's a very big desire to help others in terms of teaching them about fetal alcohol, about parenting techniques.
And those techniques are part of the lifestyle here at Hayes Kids in Minnesota. 2 hours of intensive homeschooling every day is compulsory. Most of the kids help to make a wide range of pottery gifts, which are sold in local gift shops to help support the family. Chores are shared equally between boys and girls, and young and old. The washer and dryer have to be filled and emptied 5 times each day. Those who are able take turns in the kitchen to cook the meals. Each child has their own room, and they have to be kept tidy and clean. Jatavia has her books and her personal photographs, and we thought this young man was her Valentine.
That's not my boyfriend, that's my brother.
On the other side of the building, the boys have their own hall, and in Ricky's room, he told us he was of mixed heritage. One of his parents was African American and the other Native American. But he says they are no longer part of his life.
So I have a mom and dad now. I never used to have one.
Ricky now has a host of brothers and sisters too. life for these kids is suddenly carefree and full of fun. For the time being, this idyllic existence is having a positive influence on these troubled kids. John and Holiday Hayes say their children can't survive in the outside world, so it's best they plan to spend the rest of their lives here.
I mean, they have to have somebody to marry. They have to have, you know, friends, and they will have that here within a community. We're creating a community here.
Oddly, this couple with this special family started out life together on a very different note.
We never wanted children.
We were hippies living in a hippie commune, and he got a vasectomy just before we met. I was scared to death of children. I had a painful childhood.
From a commune to a community they hope to keep together for as long as they all shall live.
If they have a really good life here, why would they want to go out?
But the oldest kid here is only 16. How much control can these parents have as their adopted children grow into adults and want to strike out on their own?
What happens to them after they turn 18? Will we be able to? I don't know. We'll find out. Come back in 10 years and do another story. I mean, and we'll see how many stayed.
Jay Valles wants to be a professional pilot someday. He'd had his pilot's license for about a month. Yes, just a month, when he and some friends planned a Saturday flight from Rush City up to Duluth, back to the cities, and at dark they'd head for home. That was the plan.
I told them, you know, we might have a problem here.
The plane's engine had lost oil pressure. It was the last leg of the trip.
We were up about 4,000 feet, and by that time it went. The engine went, and it made a whole bunch of racket. It did not sound good.
A piston had blown, the engine gone. Jay was now essentially in control of a glider. While most kids his age have pimples, proms, and girls to worry about, Jay had in his hands a crippled plane and the lives of two buddies. 5 Eyewitness News has obtained the 911 call Jay had his passenger make from the air.
911, can I help you?
You see, Jay's only option for a safe landing was Interstate 35.
We had engine failure. We're going to have to try to put it down on the highway.
But there was no time for police to stop traffic.
We're probably 50 feet above the highway here. Come on, Jay. Good job, Jay.
Just about down, Jay had one last unexpected obstacle.
And there's a white Chevy Yukon passing just under our nose, you know, and I'm going, oh crap.
This bit of 911 tape tells the rest.
We're touched down on the highway right now.
You're touched down on the highway and you're north of Harris. I'm getting some officers out there to try to shut down the traffic.
We are touched down and we are rolling to a stop on the shoulder.
Great.
He's a good pilot. I tried to get out of the plane. I just fell on the ground. My feet just collapsed from underneath me, and it's like, well, at least I know that I'm down.
From the very beginning, the story was shocking. Let's go on a boat ride! And even a bit salacious.
The sexual acts were enormously blatant.
Accusations from crew members that as many as 18 Vikings players engaged in an evening of drunkenness and sexual shenanigans aboard 2 party boats on Lake Minnetonka. All of this during the team's bye week with their record 1-3.
If you're going to be bad, be discreet.
Boys will be boys.
As they prepared for a showdown with division rival Chicago, the only questions were boat party related. A sex scandal was born.
The Vikings made their own mess.
After a lousy performance against the Bears, questions about the boat party only grew louder and more persistent.
Can we talk about the game, please?
Conte, can you confirm a published report that you were at the boat party?
Oh, no comment.
It's good! The Vikings win! Then the Vikings reeled off 6 wins in a row, and any boat party questions just didn't fit in.
No.
We found 8 bags in the dumpster.
Until this 5 Eyewitness News investigation found a list of names of women in a garbage dumpster. Can you comment about this broadcast report?
I didn't see it.
Can I tell you what was on it?
No, I don't want to know that. I got to win a football game.
Then days before one of the biggest games of the year,
inappropriate sexual behavior.
The announcement that these 4 players, Dante Culpepper, Bryant McKinney, Mo Williams, and Fred Smoot, would be charged with misdemeanors. Todd Baer, 5 Eyewitness News.
While here in Quebec, we found something we're sure most Minnesotans would enjoy. When couples tie the knot in this chapel, it's always a white wedding, and it's okay if the bride and groom get cold feet. It's an enchanting setting. Pillars of sparkling ice and walls of shimmering snow make up one of the most beautiful and unusual chapels in the world. The Ice Hotel creators drew on the traditional designs of the first churches built in Quebec, but those places of worship were made out of brick and wood. This chapel is carved entirely out of frozen water. This young couple from Ontario decided the chilly chapel is the ideal place to get married.
I like the outdoors, and I really like the winter. I was born on Christmas.
Definitely chilly, but you know, we're from Canada, we're winter people.
All right, everyone stop breathing.
In this cold setting, the bridal party has to hold their breath to avoid fogging up the photograph. 26-year-old Jeff Wright and 25-year-old Monica Seguin have been dating for 6 years, and the time has come. Most brides dream of a warm, sunny day for their wedding, but not Monica. She dreamt of a white winter wedding. And the Ice Hotel's chapel fits the picture perfectly.
It's just so much more amazing than the pictures that we've seen on the internet or what people told us about it. It's just amazing. It's so beautiful.
But their family and friends didn't warm up to this idea at first.
Well, I think they thought we were crazy. But then I told them just to wear their long johns and and their toques, so yeah.
Their guests dressed in their winter best and crowded into the chapel to sit on blocks of ice covered in deer hides. How's this for a trip down the aisle? It's only 10 degrees, but from the moment the ceremonies begin, the chill seems to go out of the air. But when the bride enters the room, she looks like a snow princess in a full-length fur cape.
Welcome, everybody. Although it's a little bit cold here, we will soon have this place warmed up by the love between Jeff and Monica.
This is the first time we've ever seen a wedding party in tuxedos, boots and gloves, and bridesmaids wearing coats and long underwear.
Monica, I wish to live with you without trying to change you.
Monica, I wish to live with you without trying to change you.
Monica's family speaks French and Jeff speaks English, so the ceremony is performed in both languages.
Besoin d'être touché, étreignez-vous lorsque l'autre a besoin de contact. Do you, Jeff, take Monica to be your lawful wedded wife, and forsaking all others, promise to be faithful to her alone, to love, protect, and cherish her above all others?
I do.
The couple take off their gloves only once, just long enough to slip on their wedding rings.
With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride.
The kisses may be cold and the roses may be frigid, but this is one relationship that can only get warmer with time.
Your souls are united from this moment forward. It is my pleasure to introduce to you for very first time.
And where do the newlyweds plan to spend their honeymoon night? At the Ice Hotel, of course.
Monica and Jeff.